Welcome to BreitWerks. So, we had no idea that Dow 730 was going to be out of stock everywhere, so we're waiting for some case sealant to come, and in the meantime, we're going to put the components together for the pistons and cylinders. So, we've got our fresh cylinders from Millennium, Nikasil, bored and honed very nicely. And then we cleaned up our pistons very well. So one of the first things I do is, before I start messing with rings, I put one of the retaining rings back in. And on these, it's easier to slide the pin in from the long side. This is a 2.7, so these are 90 millimeter. So I put the snap ring in on this side. And this can sometimes be super simple, and sometimes it'll try and get away from you. So while we do this on camera, and I promise I won't cut away, you guys can all laugh along with me. Yeah, this is not the most exciting thing in the world, but once you get it right, it's very satisfying. Okay, so now we're just going to use a very small screwdriver, very gently, just going to work it around, and then you hear it. So that's why they call it a snap ring, because it snaps into place. So then you visually check, make sure that it's in there, and these are pretty tight, so you're not spinning these with your finger, but it's all in there. So piston's good. Now, we got brand new cylinders, and we got brand new rings. So, the way the box works: 1, 2, 3, oil ring, middle ring, top ring. First thing we'll do is we will take out the oil ring, and we're going to move the little expander out of the way here for a second, and then we're going to find where it says top. So top means it's up. So we're going to check our ring gaps, and I always write them on the table: 15 to 45, so 0.15 to 0.45 millimeters. Since it's the first ring, we can get a little set, but we want to make sure it's perfect all the way around, otherwise we're getting a false reading. So get this guy squared up in the cylinder. And yes. So now what we'll do, since it's 0.15 to 0.45, I just use a go, no go of 0.25 millimeters. I think the saying goes, if it's loose, only you will know it. If it's tight, everybody at the car show will know it when it blows up. So we want to make sure that we've got plenty of clearance, and we're good. The wear limits on these are 1 millimeter, so you can have huge gaps. But I imagine that would be making a smoke show going down the road. So now what I do is, once I've finished the ring and I'm happy with it, and I know it's the one we're going to use, I take a little oil expander, and on these particular pistons, the bump goes to the left. So we're going to set the expander 180 degrees out. So we'll squeeze them back closed, and that's the bottom of the piston, because we want to put our oil control ring gap at the top of the piston. So that way we minimize the likelihood that when you go and start the car, you get big smoke puffs coming out. So move that out of the way. No real fanciness to this. You will have some calluses and some sore fingers as you expand those by hand. All right, so bottom ring done. Now, pull our second ring. We're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to get that ring inside that cylinder, and then I'm using, I think, 30 millimeters, just a random number. Make sure it's about a little bit more than a third of the way down the cylinder. Like I said, these were just freshly bored and plated with brand new Nikasil. So you've heard me say it before, trust but verify. This is one of those things where you can definitely verify. So we'll grab our feeler gauge, grab our 0.25 mil, and perfect, right? Not too much drag, not too little. So second ring done. So we'll put that onto our piston. And once we oil these up later, we'll orient them all in the right spots. But for right now, we just get them on there. And I usually just turn it to the side so I don't forget. And last but not least, pull our top ring out. Again, we're looking for the word top. Sometimes it'll be a dot. Goats makes it very easy to know which side of the ring goes up, which is very nice. All right, so get this guy squared up. All right, and grab our feeler gauge, check our go, no go, and 0.25, nice and smooth. So we've got nice tight ring gaps. They should last a nice long time, and we'll get solid compression. All right, so now you've got some choices here. We put that snap ring in first, so that way when we're assembling all this onto the motor, it's not trying to fly out and kill you. But we got choices, but one thing we don't have a choice of is making sure that our cylinder is clean. So I use isopropyl alcohol, Chem wipes, and I've already cleaned this guy with a green scrubby and some palm olive. So I don't expect to see much, but it is amazing that brand new cylinders, yep, see? So we'll go at that one more time. There's a little bit of some kind of black stuff coming out of there. Some people will say, oh, well, that'll just help the rings to seat. Well, we're gonna let the rings seat the way the rings want to. We're gonna have as clean as possible to start it. All right, no black on there. So we've got a cylinder. We know that the bump goes off to the left. So the next thing we have to do is we've got to oil the rings. So we're going to oil these rings up. Some people soak them in a tub of oil. It's too much. You don't need all that. Plus, remember, you're trying to get these things to seat as quickly as possible. You just want them so that there's oil all the way around. So I tend to rotate the rings. Also lets me make sure that I did a good job cleaning those ring lands. All right, so when we look on the top of the ring, we see oil. So it migrated all around. Same thing on the bottom of the ring. So we're happy with that. Now where it gets interesting is, now that we've got our rings on here, we want to get them oriented. So first thing we're going to do is make sure that that oil ring, the gap is at the top, right? So your piston pin's this way, so the piston's going to be sitting like that, so you know that's 12 o'clock. And then looks like our top ring has moved itself way around. We're going to grab the second ring, and I put the second ring around, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the top ring around 7:30, 8 o'clock. A lot of time goes into that. Okay, now I have this handy Hazette piston ring, or piston installer. Sometimes I use those Wyco conical ones, but I don't have a 90 millimeter one, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to use this guy for this go around. And we want to get it oriented correctly, so I'm going to get him over those rings, and then very slowly close this up, because you don't want to hear a lot of snap, crackle, and pop. in case one of the rings got cockeyed. Right, so I'm going to pull this piston just up a little bit to square it. And if you put it in wrong side, no big deal, you'll be able to rotate it. But we'll put them in from the back side. This is a much flatter surface area because you've got these head gasket grooves, and they will tend to mess with the ring installer. So let's see. I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to set him down here flat, and then gently, so we can find center. Don't be surprised if you have to do this more than once. What's going on? Wow, she really doesn't want to come through there. Square it up again. Aha, there's our problem. And that is piston and a bore. So now we look at it, we know long fins go down, we got our bump out on the left hand side. Spinning this thing around, no big deal, so don't worry about it. When you go to assemble it, you'll get that last opportunity to make sure it's oriented correctly. And then this is going to go in a airtight bag, but before we do that, one of the things I do like to do is just a little brake clean, because later, right before assembly, we'll put the base gasket shims in, and we'll use Carol T above and below those base gasket shims. So I just don't want any oil kind of hanging out there, and once it's embedded itself, it gets very hard to clean off. So there you have it. Do that 5 more times, and yeah, right on the face what the weight is, a letter designation, and then what cylinder it's going to go in. So this will go in cylinder 4. But there you have it. We'll put that guy in a bag, we'll set him off to the side, and when we're ready for him, he's already built. All right, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click that subscribe button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, check us out at BreitWerks.com.